another episode of the Next Fix podcast. And today we've got this fantastic Canadian coming to us with a magnificent story, journey, right? Because that's what we love, right? We love the comeback story. And she just shared just a little bit with me just very quickly and clearly. There's a lot of pieces of this that resonate to what we talk about, right? The comeback story and, of course, the journey to getting on the other side of things like recovery and getting off of the rock bottom, that granite cellar that we've all seen. And so today we've got Randi-Lee Bowslaugh. Randy, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I am pretty good.
I meant to say A. I'm sorry to interrupt. I meant to say A because I'm Canadian.
That's a little more north than me. I speak very Americanized, I guess, because I'm like 20 minutes from the border.
All right.
Not
You're
to
one
say
of us,
don't
then.
ever say A, but it's much more northern that we're talking.
Right. It's the sticks, right? I get it. Well, I appreciate you being here, and you were about to tell me how are you doing. So how are you doing?
I am doing pretty good if it would stop snowing. It's not snowing much, it's just like a little tiny bit, but I don't like it, so.
All right, well, you're in the wrong country.
I am well aware. You know what? A good portion of the States is actually above where I am because I'm in that dip
I see
down,
what you're saying.
so I'm good.
Right. Okay, Randy. So this is where we hit the ground running, right? I always say things like, all right, I want to know, when did the shit hit the fan for you? And of course, exactly what were those dark moments like for you? And when did you feel like, okay, something's got to give here?
Yeah. So the better question is, when did the shit not hit the fan? There's a few moments. So I'll give you a quick rundown of the moments, and then you can pick which ones you want to dive a little deeper into.
All right.
There's a bunch of them.
Okay.
So as a teenager, my mom ended up marrying an alcoholic. So there was a lot of deep, dark moments when I thought I was just going to end it all because it was much easier than living the life that we were living.
Now, what kind of alcoholic, like I'm
Beer.
imagining the angry, the violent, and that side? Right.
Pretty much a lot of yelling, tons of yelling, throwing stuff. I remember this one time specifically, it was a Christmas and we had just got a new tree, artificial tree. And in the morning though, I had woken up after hearing this big long fight. My mom always said, go upstairs, whenever something went down. So in the morning, there was the top of the tree, because it came in like 3 pieces, right? So the top of the tree, my mom had shoved into a big cardboard box so we could still have a tree up because the rest of it was broke.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. At that time, my brother, who was 4 years older than me, was also in and out of jail, doing drugs, stealing, doing all that bad stuff. So I was kind of the forgotten child. I felt like at the time, which was very difficult because before my mom got married, like me and my mom were close again. I was always a mama's girl, so it was really confusing why all of a sudden, I'm being told to go hide in your room, go upstairs, I don't want to see you kind of thing. We're working through it in therapy. That was not the case. It wasn't I don't want to see you. It was I'm trying to protect you. But that's not the way it feels at the time.
Right. And then the forgotten child thing is kind of like the squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? So
Exactly.
Your brother is getting all of the attention, not necessarily for the best of reasons, but I hear you saying.
Exactly. And I was, passing school. I had some friends, I was fine. Meanwhile, in my head, I'm plotting killing myself. So, but I didn't speak that out loud. So how was my mom supposed to know?
Right.
Now that I'm older and I told her that, she's like, oh my gosh, I wish you would have told me. We had this big moment. So that was kind of my first. I take
it she's not with that guy, right? That guy.
No. They divorced. He actually, I don't want to say it's a funny story, but because of my history with him, I find it a bit ironic. He was actually hit by a car on the way to the bar.
Wow.
And he ended up dying from that. I don't wish death on anyone, but
of course, right. But it is
it is kind of ironic that it was on the way to get more drunk.
Right. But hey, listen, if the karma's a thing, that's pretty much a pretty good case for it, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So they were together pretty much through my high school years. So like about 4 years before my mom had enough. They'd separated, they got divorced, and then he did ultimately, like I said, end up getting hit by a car. And that was quite a while ago. I would have, yeah, probably a good 15 years ago now, I think that went down. So
Yeah.
I ended up moving out of the house at 17 because I couldn't handle it anymore between my brother's stuff and Kaz's stuff. I couldn't take it. So I ended up moving out with lots of emotional baggage, lots of bad habits and things that and looking for people to fill a void, and that's never a good thing.
I see a pivot in the story.
Yes. So I ended up renting a room from one of my coworkers. I was working at the Subway. So I was still in school. I had just graduated high school. And so I was 18 and I made some really bad decisions. We're going to gloss over it a little bit. I ended up pregnant.
No, you don't. Wait, oh, you got pregnant. All right.
I got pregnant.
Got it.
Gloss over the bad decision part, but I ended up getting.
That's the decisions you're talking about.
Yeah.
So like a promiscuous kind of bad decisions?
Not necessarily, just so I'm going to say it without making myself cry. When you are in a position where you're trying to basically find someone to give you love because you are absolutely lacking in it because of what I was talking about with growing up, not even growing up because it was more the teenage years, having that shift. Having the shift from being a loved child to being a forgotten child, you now have this big empty void. And seeing the relationship between my mom and I never really called him my stepdad, but that's what he was, my stepdad, being very toxic, being very awful. Again, looking for anything that's going to fill that void, that's going to make me feel like I mattered.
Yeah.
And by wanting to do that, I made a very bad decision on who to date, I will say. We kind of sort of dated. So it wasn't so much promiscuous. It wasn't a whole bunch of people, but
it was one bad person.
It was one bad person, one very bad person.
Got it.
Yes. And so I ended up pregnant. I ended up homeless. So I ended up at my aunt's house. Now, so I have two younger cousins that lived at my aunt's house. And I was sleeping on the pull-out couch. Big, fat, and pregnant.
Big, fat, pregnant, and homeless. Like,
yeah.
Man. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're not playing around. This is tough. This is a tough position because this guy's gone, right? Like it's probably for the better that he's
he's gone, but he is attempting to get back into my life. So like I said, I had two younger cousins. The one was a few years younger than me. Then there was one that was younger than that. So the middle of the three of us, let's say, he played guitar really well. And so this ex of mine, well, here, teach me how to play guitar, just so he could come and be at the house. And I'm like, you are not allowed to do that. No, I don't care how much he says he's going to pay you. So kind of got rid of him-ish. Then when I did give birth, my mom being, I have to please everyone, people pleaser, because again, she's got a lot of her own baggage and shit to work through, decides to call my ex and tell him that I gave birth. And I'm like, no, why? I did not ask you to. I did not want you to. You darn well knew the situation. But at the same time, she didn't know the full extent of why it was a toxic relationship. I got to give her a little bit of grace, but she needs to go to therapy. So I've told her that before. This is not news to her. And so he's back sort of in my life. And I'm like, I want absolutely nothing to do with you. You called him, you told him, you deal with him. He's not coming in this room. Like when I was in the hospital, you were not coming in this room. If you want to take the baby out to see him, that is one thing, but he is not coming in here. He is not talking to me. So fast forward about 6 months or so, I didn't meet him. We reconnected. So my now husband, we have been married now 13 years. He is fantastic. Nice. Been together for 18 years. We met actually when we were about 16, but we didn't date then. So it wasn't until my daughter was about 6 months old when we actually started dating. And like I said, he was actually wonderful. Actually, it's so shocking. It was a little bit shocking that I actually found somebody that puts up with all of this crazy. So he also had his own daughter. She was 3 at the time we started dating. And kids got along well enough or whatever. So it was nice because he never treated mine different. I never treated his different. So it worked out really well. Clearly, it's been 18 years.
You're right. So now, all right, that seems like you climbed out of it though, right? And then.
But so we're climbing. We're on the upswing right now.
So Okay, so now I'm just seeing picket fence and everything. That's what I'm seeing. Like I'm seeing
Eventually,
like
I mean, eventually we picket fence, some dogs, some cats, eventually.
right. But now hearing the story though, I don't know, I'm seeing rainbows. I don't know. That's how I'm envisioning things.
It definitely is getting better. Yeah.
Got
The,
it.
the
Got it.
story the story is getting better. Like I said, there's a bunch of pitfalls up and down as life goes, right? Life can never be one upswing of great. It has to be up and down.
Right.
Any questions thus far though, before I just keep going?
No, go ahead. Yeah. It seems like things are all going all right.
It's going all right.
So then what happened?
So there was a good chunk of time. Things are going all right. We're in college. I graduate at the top of my class. Thank you very much. Take some university classes. I get a job in my field. So I was in social work for a bit. Then my youngest starts showing signs of what the hell's going on, right? My husband and I are desperate for help. Absolutely desperate for help. We're saying something is wrong. Something is different. But we don't know what it is, and we can't get her help because nobody is listening.
Yeah.
And so she, from the time that I would say she was about 2-ish, we're like, something's a little off with you. All right. Just kind of brush it off because I'm like, you're like your mom, whatever. You're just my spitting image. Turns out I'm a little off too, so that's okay. But as she gets older, things become more pronounced. And she was about 7 and 8 years old, and I'm getting calls from the school on the regular. You have to come pick her up. We have to suspend her. I could hear her screaming in the background. They just could not handle her. Lots of testing. Turns out she has autism. And so again, we are absolutely desperate for help. The doctor that we had at the time didn't really believe us, so we had to switch doctors, which is not an easy thing to do in Canada. We don't have many doctors. It's quite hard to find a different one, but luckily we managed to. And she ended up getting a child psychiatrist, which led to the diagnosis of autism. And it was a really long journey with that. So when I'm saying that the school was calling on a regular, this was years. They would switch her classes constantly, which, if you know anything about autism, change is hard. We don't want change. Right. So this constant switching of schools, switching of teachers was very difficult, just made things worse. And when she would have meltdowns, they were violent. They were horrific. We ended up having to call 911 multiple times to take her to the hospital because there was nothing we could do to stop these meltdowns. Now, remember all of those yelling and screaming things I talked about as a teenager? Well, I hadn't went to therapy yet. So now I'm being triggered. Turns out I also have PTSD. Don't find this out until in my 30s. So I'm being triggered by my kid, who is unintentionally triggering me. I'm feeling like the worst parent ever. I am now, of course, developing my new plan to kill myself.
Right. Second run at this thing.
Exactly. So down in the absolute pits, I am the worst person in the world, worst mother in the world. I can do absolutely nothing right. Come up with this plan because on my way to and from work, I am crying every single day. I ended up taking a leave of absence from work twice because I just couldn't. Right.
Yeah. So you're shutting down.
Absolutely shutting down. So the marriage is obviously very tense at this time because neither of us know what to do. And so when you don't know what to do, you take it out on the person that you feel most comfortable with because you know that they love you. So of course we're yelling at each other, not because we're mad at each other, but because we don't know what to do. And it's no fault of Lev's because she doesn't understand what's happening. She's trying to function in this world that is not designed for her. Yeah. And then, so we're still dating at this time. Haven't got married quite yet. Almost married. Am I get my timeline right? Actually, no, we were married. So I'm going to go back a tiny bit because there was another really big divot. So when we were engaged, this would have been 2 years prior to the autism diagnosis. When we were engaged, my husband got really, really sick. And I was like, you need to go to the doctors. So he was actually working as a security guard at the time at one of the hospitals. So he's like, okay, I'll just go to the emerge while I'm there. So he goes there. The doctor says, yeah, you're sick. Drink lots of Gatorade. You'll be fine. Comes home. He's banging on the door. It's like 2 a.m. or something. And so I'm like, what the hell is going on? Rush downstairs, open there. I'm like, what is going on? He looks so sick. I've never seen him look like this before. And he goes, I got sent home really sick. I said, you need a second opinion. You absolutely need a second opinion. He goes, no. And again, it's very hard to get a second opinion here. So eventually a couple days goes by.
Now, when you say real quick, when you say sick though, like what, just like a fever?
Oh, I'm gonna get to it. I am. Just absolutely. So picture somebody who basically can't even really lift their head up. Like just, they look like they're about to die. So fast forward about 2 days, we are supposed to meet at the doctor's office to get allergy testing for Lev. Because I was coming from a different city, we were kind of going to meet in the middle because he was going to pick her up from school. And we're just kind of going to meet there. We ended up meeting there, but my mother-in-law was there. And I go, what the heck? Okay. He goes, I couldn't drive. I had to call my mom to come get us. I'm like, what the heck? Like, why didn't you tell me? I would have come and get you. Yeah, it would have been inconvenient, but I would have done that, right? However, it was good that his mom was there because his mom goes, you're seeing the doctor or I'm taking you to the hospital. Which do you want? And so in the building where we were taking Lev, his doctor was underneath. So they go down. His doctor's on vacation. So his mom goes, do you want to go to the general or do you want to go to Hotel Dale? And so two different hospital options. Well,
Right.
one's the actual hospital. One is more of a walk-in clinic. Fine, I'll go to the walk-in clinic. So they go to the walk-in clinic. I am here with the 5 at the time at the doctor's. Okay, fine. So after we go to the doctor, I'm like, still haven't heard anything about him. Go to my in-laws because they live much closer than us. And I'm just waiting to find out what the heck is going on. And so eventually my mother-in-law calls and says they're taking him to the hospital. What is happening right now? She goes, I don't know what's happening, but they're taking him to the hospital in ambulance. What is happening right now? A few more hours go by and I'm stuck at my in-laws' house. A few more hours go by and she finally calls me. He's hooked up to IVs and stuff. Apparently he is diabetic. His blood sugar was so high he should have died.
Right.
So he was
Real quickly, I actually went to the same thing. I went to a diabetic coma because I didn't know I was diabetic. And so what was his blood sugar?
It was like 50 something.
No, it's got to be.
So yeah, no, because it's the range of whatever to 7. 7 is a good number, at least according to what we use.
You're talking about the A1.
Yeah, whatever numbers we use, I know he has to stay in the 7-ish range, and it was at a 50 range.
Right. Blood sugar, at the moment, right? For instance, mine was 1100. So when they flew me out in the helicopter and my body temperature went down to 85 degrees and I defecated on myself.
Yep.
So 1100 was like, basically, well, I'm guessing maybe you don't have that value, but usually when you're around 400, that's where it's like, okay, it's like you're starting to lose functionality. And then of course it's like plug in kind of time. So
yeah.
All right. So he didn't know he's diabetic. Now he knows he's diabetic. And then of course they're kind of intervening as far as his blood sugar is concerned.
Exactly. So yeah, that we use different numbers because I've seen stuff online where they're like 1100 and stuff. I'm like, I don't understand.
Well, the A1C is a little bit. It's a different style. It's a different type of measurement. It's over the long term.
Yeah, so that's the one that they always use with him because even his because he has the pump now because he's the type 1, so he has the pump, and even that with the little thing on the arm always gives like the lower version of numbers. So
right.
I don't know much about it. I just know what the numbers. But basically, in these kinds of numbers, 20 is like really crazy bad, and he is much higher above 20.
Got it.
So finally, my mother-in-law finally comes home because, again, I can't leave. I've got my 5-year-old. I'm not taking her to the ICU. So my mother-in-law comes. I'm finally able to go to the hospital. He is laying in the ICU, hooked up to stuff. And I'll never forget. He's like, oh, you sure you still want to marry me? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe not now. Maybe now. Not that you're almost dying. And we've had a few other of those close calls when his pump has malfunctioned and he has, like you said, you kind of lose functions. And the one time, because he doesn't listen to my interviews, I'm going to tell this story. One time he is on the toilet and it's coming out of both ends because you can't really function anything. I have to call the ambulance because his blood sugar is so out of whack. He can't get it under control. And the paramedics actually had to come in and get him from the toilet. He's like, and his pants down. He's like, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Oh, wow. Man.
So there's been, I think those were the 2 worst times, but there's been probably 3 other times where he has had to go to the hospital because his pump just doesn't work, it malfunctions, and he ends up there. So that was another really big pitfall, because now, my gosh, did I miss the signs? Could we have done something better? Because when you're dealing with depression, any little thing is like, you are the worst person in the world. So
you're taking on the blame for his diabetic condition.
Totally.
So you're adding that into the mix of everything else you're dealing with, right? So you already felt like you're going to kill yourself. And now you've given your husband diabetes.
Exactly. So I totally gave him type 1, which has nothing to do with anything, but it was my fault.
Right. Okay. So you're carrying all this stuff, like is all this baggage. It's very heavy, right? So
yes.
How did you get out of this? Like, how do you navigate that?
So you're in survival mode, right? You stick in survival mode. And I think lots of your listeners can understand that moment of, I just have to get from this time to this time, even when you don't want to. And eventually I did. So through work, we had a EAP. So I was able to get some short-term therapy that kind of progressed me to get to the next moment. So it was really a moment to moment. It was, I need to get to the next minute, not the next day. It was literally, what can I do to get to the next minute? And eventually, like I said, we got that autism diagnosis, which made a big difference in the sense that now we knew what we were dealing with.
Right. So it's giving a little bit of clarity. So now you have an aim or something to work with. I see.
Exactly. I can research. I have something tangible I can hold on to and figure out and do. Of course, that meant lots of wait lists before we could actually get any help. And then I did find a therapist and started working through some smaller things dealing with the kids. I still had not touched on any of my past trauma, my PTSD, none of that stuff. I was focused solely on this moment and getting through this moment. And this kind of went on, this up and down crazy cycle of, I don't know what to do. Okay, somebody's trying to help us. Oh, that help isn't working. Now what do we do? And literally just jumping from one moment to the next, grasping onto anything that might give us hope. At that time, my stepdaughter moves in and she comes with her own set of baggage, but that is her story to tell. So I'm going to leave that kind of there, but just know that now we are adding another person into this mix who is coming with their own baggage and issues, right? So now the crazy just intensifies having another person there. So then when Lev was about, it was grade 6 now. So however old she was, 10 maybe. She had gotten to the point that we were now looking at, it's called CPRI. So it is a live-in facility. So the kid would go there Monday to Friday. They come home on the weekends. They go there Monday to Friday for intensive therapy for up to 3 months.
Right.
No parent ever wants to admit that they are severely lacking in the skills to help their kid.
Right.
But what else do you do when, again, we're calling the hospital, she's being admitted to the children's mental health ward for a week at a time because we don't know what to do to help her. She also had attempted suicide multiple times. She had started with cutting. That landed her, of course, in the mental health ward. We got a safe, locked up all the knives. Then she got into, so I had started on antidepressants. I went to my family doctor and started on antidepressants. Again, still hadn't quite went to therapy to deal with the actual issues. Now I'm just band-aiding. I'm band-aiding to make it through.
Right.
And so then she finds my bottle of pills, takes half my bottle of pills, prep, lands her
back. What type of pills though? Like it was
antidepressants.
Okay.
Go, oh crap. Okay, we need to lock all of these up. So everything gets locked up there too. And she's back in the hospital. Then I find her attempting to hang herself with a belt. Okay, you can't have belts anymore. Then she's trying to hurt herself with like cords from the TV. So at some point, I can't even pinpoint exactly. I just kind of snapped and I'm a zombie at this point, answering doctors' questions, yep, I know, I've done that. Yep, because they're saying all the things that we've already done, lock up what you can do. But there comes a point that what are you supposed to do? Leave her with just a bed, not even a sheet, because you can take the sheet off and try and hurt yourself with that, right? Like at that point, we were completely lost. How do we do anything? The schools can't handle her. I've been homeschooling, but I can't get her to leave her room. She went through this phase of agoraphobia, not wanting to leave at all. And it was just, I was, like I said, a complete zombie. I'm just moving through life, waiting for the moment that I'm just going to jump off a bridge. That was my plan. I live near a lot of bridges.
Right. It seems like it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Like they're
It
close
was
by.
very logical.
Right. So then what made you stop? So that was your daughter, but like, how did you get to work? How did you turn around some of this mindset? You've mentioned PTSD. And of course, now there's been a couple, if not more, phases in your life where the end was the answer, right? Ending your life, right? So how do you turn something like that around?
So I put on just a smile, just fake it till you make it. That was my mom's favorite thing. Fake it till you make it. Well, that doesn't work. But I had some breakdowns at work. I ended up changing from being a social worker dealing directly with clients to data entry because this one specific moment at work, a client had come in. I was an employment counselor. She's complaining, oh, how am I supposed to find a job? My kid has autism, da, da, da. And I left my office. I went to a coworker. I'm going to punch her. You're going to use your kid's autism as an excuse. I'm standing right here. Like, I just lost it. So it was a good time for me to change positions. So that kind of alleviated some stress because now I wasn't dealing with their stress. But then I took a full-on leave of absence from work. I did actually ended up not going back to that job. So at that time, I was diagnosed with cancer. So
Right.
so every time I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this to help alleviate some stress and be able to focus on things, something else comes and smacks me down. So I ended up having 2 surgeries to get rid of the cancer. During this time, we are getting Lev into CPRI, that place I was talking about. We were really hoping she would be in before I had surgery, but it just didn't work out that way. But she did end up going there. And when she was there, that's when I was like, I can breathe, I can regroup, I can figure this out. So I would say up to this point, the only thing that kept me going was my husband and I have this running commentary of, you better not leave me because I will raise you back from the dead because you are not leaving me here with these 2 crazy children.
Right.
So that was a huge support. As funny as it sounds to say, it was the biggest support for not doing any of those thoughts was that, okay, life is not completely wasted right now. There is one person that wants me here.
Yeah.
And
it needs you there. Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's imperative, really.
Yeah, it's huge. So while she's at CPRI, I'm starting to now focus on A, my recovery because I just had surgery, and B, my recovery from all this mental health stuff. But stupid me, I decide to go off my antidepressants without telling a doctor. Don't ever do that. It's really bad.
It's a classic move. I don't need these.
Classic move. Yep. Horrible. So when she came out of CPRI, things were much better. That was her turning point in realizing a lot of stuff about herself because they did a lot of intensive stuff. And so things were kind of going much smoother at the time. Again, we're on another upswing. So then I would say COVID was about to hit. So what hadn't quite hit yet, but I think I need to go on my antidepressants. So this is probably about 3 years or so being off of them. And I realized, all of these deep, dark thoughts of wanting to end it all are right back where they were. So my husband looks at me. He goes, what do you mean you're off of them? He didn't even realize I went off them because I didn't tell him because deep down I knew it was the wrong decision, even though I did it. Yay. So I went back on them, started going back to therapy, working through now my past stuff. Because every point in therapy up till then was working on current things. But that didn't help any of the triggers. So I finally went back. That's when I was diagnosed with PTSD. Worked through this beautiful long workbook, lots of tears, lots of crying, but reconfiguring my thought process on the past, how things were perceived. So I did mention, I felt like my mom was just shoving me off to the side. No, she was trying to protect me. Changing those past and how we view them and
frameworks.
That kind of thing. Yes, exactly. So that shift and that work, it was stressful. It was a lot. It was a lot of tears, but it made a world of difference. I've also been diagnosed with autism myself. And I went, that's why when people were like, hey, Lev's a little weird, I'm like, no, she's like her mom. Yeah, she is. And we both have autism. Shocking.
Right.
And so a lot of good stuff was happening. And then I get this phone call. I am at the pool store waiting to get my water tested for the pool, make sure all the chemicals are good. I get this call from my aunt saying, there's a Facebook post saying your brother's dead. I was like, what? What are you talking about? And this had happened before, and we're like, it's probably a hoax again, whatever. I'm like, let me figure it out. So I look at my phone. I have all of these messages from my brother's ex-girlfriend, who he was still friends with. She is one of my niece's moms. So my brother was promiscuous. He has a few kids. So she got a hold of me, and she told me that, yeah, my brother was dead. And I'm completely in shock. Again, I'm standing in this line outside because it's COVID now. You're not allowed in the store.
Right.
And so I have my big sunglasses on, and I'm crying, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. So I cancel I was going to do a personal train. So I became a personal trainer at that time. I called my client. I said, I can't come. And she's like, yeah, no, take your time. I'm like, okay, well, I can't drive my car yet because I'm still too emotional. I need my water tested. Nothing's changing about that. So I'm just going to stay in this line and get it tested and figure out what the hell is going on. And so I'm calling she gave me the number of the person that was there who called 911. Her, and I get the story from her. So my brother, I guess he was doing drugs with one of his supposed friends. This friend woke up, could not wake my brother up, called the worker. So she was it's called Street Works, the program. And so called the worker, and she rushed over. On her way over, she's calling 911. She goes in, tries to use the Narcan. Nothing is working. Nothing's reviving him. And so she goes, the police are here. Do you want to talk to them? I said, yes, because now if I hear it from an authority figure, then it's real. Until I hear it from one of them, I can pretend like it's not real.
Right.
So the officer gets on the phone. He tells me, yes, I'm so sorry. Your brother he's dead. And I just break down. I'm crying everywhere. And my mom is about to get off work, and nobody can get a hold of her because she's not answering her phone while she's at work, obviously. So I text her. I said, when you get home, my mom lived with me at the time. And I said, when you get home, wait for me. Don't go anywhere. I have never said that to her before. So alarm bells are going off in her head.
Right.
She's got no idea what I'm going to say, especially like is it about her grandkids? It's about me. Is it like, I don't think it crossed her mind that it would be about my brother, because why would I have that information? I had not spoken with him very much over the last few years because I had to set that boundary of if you're going to be doing drugs, no, you are not being in my life. I had talked to him a handful of times in the past couple months, but really I hadn't seen him. I wasn't really involved. So eventually I compose myself enough. I get told my pool needs calcium. I buy the calcium. I find that part is just so funny that I'm still on this autopilot of these are the things that need done on a regular day. So I'm just going to do them, this autopilot, right? So I get in the car. I'm only about a 5-minute drive. So I crank my music up so I'm not thinking any thoughts so I can focus on driving because I don't want to get in an accident. Get home. My mom's washing the dishes and I pat the chair. I go, Mom, you gotta sit down. She goes, no, because as soon as I sit down, you're going to tell me something bad. I'm like, you need to sit down. It felt like time stood still.
Right.
The amount of time it took her to get to that seat, it stood still. As soon as her butt hit the seat, though, I just go, Brandon's dead. Only 2 words I can get out. We start crying. It's this whole thing. And so then I had to, it's just me and my mom, like my spouse and my kid. But really, his dad had screwed off when he was young. My dad was a piece of garbage. So he didn't have a dad, really. He had my mom, my aunts or whatever. So it was my mom and I who had to plan the entire funeral. So I just go into this mechanical task duties. This is what needs done. I'm not even processing that my brother just died because my mom is so out of it that she's not even making decisions. So I'm like, I'm the one calling the funeral. I'm the one calling people to tell them what had happened. And so we go to the funeral home again. She's just sitting there. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so we're going to go with this, right, Mom? And I look at her, I go, right. So like, she was just devastated, obviously. And so that was, I think we're coming up on I think this will be 3-year anniversary this May of his death. So that was really hard to process.
Right. Now, how did you, what, other than the therapy, like what would you say that you implemented in your life to kind of make it through all of those scenarios? Like what would you lend the most credit to your success as far as navigating those things?
Yeah. So one of my biggest things is that, so I'm Christian. So my faith has been like there to be like, no, you can't, this is going to sound, no, you can't kill yourself. It's too big of a sin.
Okay.
Like,
You can
right?
lean on, there's some people that really, it keeps you from doing it, right? Which, is two things. One, it sheds light on how bad things are for you when you're like, the only reason why I'm not killing myself is because of this book that told me it's not right. So,
Exactly.
and so that's one part of it, but then also the power of faith, because it can pull you from the darkest moments. And in my journey, scripture was a massive, massive, massive part of me getting out of those horribly, those really tough moments, right? I could also lean on my faith. So all right. So faith is fantastic. And then the mental health. Now, do you feel that you're out of the woods?
Yeah, we definitely on, again, another upswing. Things are pretty good. Knock on wood. I don't see any big twists or downfalls. So, I mean, my stepdaughter, she had a baby at 15, which again threw a wrench in the plan back then. But he is the cutest little button. He is now 5. He is the light of my life. Grammy is his favorite person. And so she is doing much better as well. She's realized some things about herself, and we did get her into therapy, and she finally, after like 3 different, actually more than that, probably 5 different therapists, she found one she likes.
Yeah.
She is doing much better, which I think has healed a lot of just our internal family relationships, especially between the 2 kids. So that has been much better too.
In your opinion, how much do you feel that the autism contributed to maybe the mental illness, if at all?
There's definitely a lot of research on the comorbidities
Yeah,
of
right.
the autism with mental health. And from my experiences and from research, a lot of it has to do with how we don't understand the world in the way that a typical person does. So things hit us a little bit differently, or people pick on us because we don't understand what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so that does increase the mental health side of it. And I know for my daughter, that rings 100% true, because we had many late nights up with her crying, saying, why am I different? Why are people picking? She was bullied horrendously in school, to the point that she was having night terrors.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely plays a really big role, because she couldn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
Because of the autism.
Yeah.
But she is 18 now, and she's doing much better. She still has ups and downs, of course, but she graduated high school. She has so in Ontario, there's 3 license phases. She's in the middle one, so she can drive a car, which is a really big deal.
Right.
Yeah. And we've got her set up with a worker who will take her out and go do activities and stuff. So she's doing a lot better than before. I would say cognitively, we peg her about a 13, 14-year-old. That really helps too, when you put into perspective from a parent, when you're going, no, she's only 13. Like, okay, she's 18 in age, but you can't treat her like that. So putting into perspective, no, this is what a typical 13-year-old would be like. That's where we need to put the expectation.
Okay, yeah. So that seems incredibly useful. Again, going back to frameworks, right? In order for you to function at the highest level you can, that seems significant in an approach. Like, okay, because, I even think about my own family members. My aunt, for instance, like she passed away before she was 40. But when I was a teenager, I was like, man, I feel like I'm talking to somebody younger than myself. And we never really like laid down, specifics. But looking back, it even helped me to communicate with her better, instead of her looking at it as instead of approaching her as somebody I thought was supposed to know more than myself. I was like, I would speak to her as if she was somebody younger than myself.
Yeah.
But anyways, it seems like that could be very useful as far as a parent is concerned.
Exactly. And even just understanding, like, dealing with the general public or like teachers and stuff, going, okay, yes, this is her age, but this is where we're teaching, right?
Yeah.
Like there is this big difference. And like you said, the changing your framework of how you view things really makes a big difference. And I know you've asked me a couple of times, what are other things out that help? Animals. I have cats and dogs, and I go ride horses, and animals get some.
Right.
They're just the best. Writing was my very first coping strategy before I even knew that coping strategies were a thing.
Okay. Yeah. And now you've got you've got, well, you mentioned one book, but I'm suspecting that there's more than one book going on. Like, is
There is a bunch.
got it?
All
Okay.
of these books back here, actually, they're all mine.
All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a plethora for sure.
Yeah, so I love sharing my story, obviously. Very openly. I think that I know that there was this moment when Lev was younger where, again, it was one of those late night sessions. She's crying. Why is she so different? Why is she the only one? And I went, oh, baby, you're not the only one. And that's when I realized I was shielding her from my past and my pain. Obviously, there's still stuff that she doesn't need to know because she's my kid, but I needed to be more open with her so she knew she wasn't different, so that she knew she wasn't worthless. And that's when I started going, okay, I need to start being loud about mental health, because if my kid doesn't realize that other people deal with it, then that could end very badly for her. So I published my first book in 2017, and it was actually the poems that I wrote when I was 14, 15, 16, dealing with my alcoholic stepdad. I had kept them for years because I was like, they're pretty good. I don't want to throw them out. Found them in the basement, and I said, you know what? Yeah, this is the time. This is what is going to be my book. Didn't realize that was going to delve into all of these other books, but that was the first one, so that other people, again, knew that they weren't alone. It's a book of poetry, very depressed, dark stuff, but it gives a little bit of my story at the beginning and then a little bit of the good stuff at the end, so that it's that light at the end of the tunnel.
Beautiful. No, that's perfect, right? That really is. That's awesome. And so now you've got the bug, right? You're a writer. So I guess, what's next? Like, what's coming, or what would you like to share? What's the latest, right?
What's the latest? Okay, so I did just have one that came out in December, which is ironically the follow-up to that very first book. So I've written like 10 or whatever books in between that first one and the one that just came out. So in December, I released that first book. It's called Thoughts of a Wanderer. So the one that just came out in December, Thoughts of a Warrior.
Okay. I like that a lot. Yeah. Like, that is very cool. Now, is it poems again?
It is, but this time it is the happier side, the coming through. Now, there are stuff that is still, there is one specifically about body image, because that is still a giant struggle. My best friend in high school told me I was pretty because I was skinny. That stayed with me, still with me. Which is, it's a very hard thing, especially coming from somebody who's supposedly your best friend. And so there's a poem in there about body image, but there's also poems that are like, yes, I'm making it through. And everyone is paired with a nature picture, because again, coping strategy, nature, being outside, the fresh air, the sunlight. It's just
right.
The best word to describe it.
That's awesome. Okay, so now where do people go to find these, or where can they see more of you, or where do they get more? What's the next steps?
So all of my books, they're on Amazon, and there's a range from those nonfiction stuff that we've talked about, and kids books, because nonfiction is heavy and hard to write. So I mix it up with some kids books. And the Neo book, actually, this one right here, it's about my three-legged cat. That one won a couple of awards.
Nice.
It's just saying it's really good, and about real life kitty. And then my kid actually draws some of the pictures for some of those kids books. Not that one. She helped me, but she didn't draw. But this one over here, Woofy, she drew all of the pictures for that.
Nice. That's a family affair.
It is. Cool. She is much more artistic than me. My mom can draw. My brother could draw. She can draw. A work in progress.
So Randy, is there a website, or is there?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so okay. All of my books, they're on Amazon. If you want to see more of me, I have my own YouTube channel, The Write or Die Show.
Write or Die. Nice.
Yeah. And so I interview other people like you, and we talk about mental illness, things from depression all the way. I just talked to somebody about her abusive relationship, marriage, and how she got out of it. So that was yesterday's episode. So tons of different things on there.
Write or Die, got it.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna put everything into print so everybody can find it too.
And then my website is rbwriting.ca. I'm in Canada. I'm on TikTok, Randi-Lee Bowslaugh, Instagram, Randi-Lee Bowslaugh. And if you do like animals, because they're a great coping strategy, 4 cats, 3 dogs is my animals TikTok.
Okay. I'm like 4 cats.
Yep, that's my animals TikTok.
Randy,
they're very cute.
So on a serious note, though, like if somebody were to be maybe in one of those moments that you were kind of mentioning, about the divots, right? The deep divots. What would you say to them? Like, what would you feel would be a positive either action item or just something that they need to hear?
Yeah. So there's kind of two thoughts going through my head. What I would want to say to them is, this is not the end. Life is up and down. We're just in a down. We got to go up. As much as I would want to say that to them, even if somebody said that to me in one of my down moments, I'd look at them and go, F you. So I don't think it would be effective, even though I think that would be the best piece of advice. It would then, depending on the situation, sit with them. Honestly, if you can just sit with the person, not necessarily tell them anything, but just be.
Yeah.
Actually, my best friend, she's kind of going through this big struggle right now. And so she canceled plans on Saturday, which is fine. We have this all the time. And I just go, well, I'm here. Like, I'm not going to give you advice. I know you're struggling. Her dad just died. She's dealing with the estate and all that. I'm here. And so I think, we're here. We might not physically be here, but I feel like I speak for you too. We are here. Right.
Because if you could show up for somebody, it could really can turn things around for them. And it doesn't. Yeah. That's beautiful. Well, Randi.
That's why you get a dog. Dogs are always there for you. They love you unconditionally.
Right. They can't give you excuses, right?
Nope. They just love you. Cats, I love my cats, but sometimes they're kind of a-holes.
Right. Well, Randi, this has been an amazing experience, and I really appreciate you spending your time with me and everybody here. So this has been another episode of The Next Fix, guys. See you on the next one.